Hi, and welcome to our step-by-step grouting video of the fish mosaic. First, let's go over a few things that you're going to need. You will need to have non-sanded grout. It comes in a few variety of colors. I'm going to be using the snow white color for this particular project. You will also need a float. This one's not too big in size, so it's perfect for small projects. I also have something to mix the grout and also spread it. I normally use this as a plastic knife that you can find at Michael's or any of those kind of project stores. I am going to be using just a torn t-shirt that I am going to use to clean the grout with. I have some gloves, and you can also use a sponge to clean the grout with. You will need something to mix it in, and I just use an old plastic container that had yogurt in it. It's perfect, it's not too big, perfect size. And then you're going to need a container to have your water in when you are cleaning off the grout. This actually is a shoe box, so perfect size. Okay, let's get started. Here is my fish, finished piece. I did place plate, Italian glass, and tile. You always want to make sure that everything is well adhered to your wooden frame, or in this case, my fish. I only have one glove today, but often I don't even use them, so it's good to kind of show you both ways. The grout is a powdered mix, as you can see here. I'm just going to take out, I'm kind of measuring it by eye. I'm going to use 2 handfuls of the grout. Next, this is just water. I'm going to pour in a little bit of the water and mix. It's kind of like mixing pancake mix. You don't want it too thick. Like here it's a little thick, so I'm going to add a little more water. And you definitely don't want it too runny. If it's too runny, you can always add a little bit more grout, or too thick, add more water. In this case, I'm going to add a little more water to my grout and just mix it, and that's all you have to do. This being the non-sanded grout is great. It's not going to be super smooth, but you don't want to have a bunch of chunks in it either. So with my knife, I'm mixing up the grout, and this should be plenty for the fish mosaic. Okay, so now I'm going to place the grout on my fish, and I'm just gonna kind of pour it on. Right onto the fish. Then I'm using a knife, kind of spread it. You can see I kind of used a little. It was lavished with grout, but I want to make sure that it goes in all of the places, all of the cracks. That's the best way to determine. This is such a small project, it's okay to use your fingers, but you can also use the float as well. So I am just, as you can see, getting all the way in, just kind of using my fingers to make sure that there's grout going into all of the little spaces in between the pieces. And as I got a little bit extra, I'm just gonna put that right back into my container. still, once again, using my fingers and the glove. As you can see, I've got really inside all of the spaces. Let me also show you what it's kind of like with the float. Just smoothing the float along the pieces, pushes the grout in between those crevices. We can get a better view of what tile I used and glass. So once you get the grout on, then of course you want to wipe it down as much as you can to get any excessive grout off your project. Okay. So there we have that. Now we want to begin to clean. Got my water, and in this case, let's go ahead and use the sponge. This is a pretty big sponge, so I'm actually going to cut it in half. Okay, so I've got my sponge. Just place it in the water, and then I want to wipe off the excessive grout. You don't want the sponge to, you really want to wring the sponge out so that you don't have too much water. As you can see, just wipe that off. I'm using both sides of the sponge. Let me also show you with cloth, which I kind of like to have as a follow-up, especially on a small detailed piece like this. Kind of get in there and wipe all of the grout off as much as you can. This is pretty good. And then we're just gonna let it set and dry. Here we are. I've allowed the grout to dry. You can see here, looks pretty good. We're just gonna now use either somewhat of a damp cloth. This is our t-shirt, and just go over the pieces. Try and get in a little closer so you can see. Just wiping off that little bit of grout residue or powder. And really get that looking nice and shiny. The more you work on it, the better the shine and the polish. I can also wipe off that little bit because I do have wood exposed on my fish, so I can wipe off any little bit of grout around in the wooden area here on the fish. Now this is going to be a decorative wall piece, so I don't necessarily have to seal the grout. However, you do want to seal your grout with a product such as this, a gloss sealer and finish. This I also found at Home Depot or Lowe's. This you would just follow the directions and apply it on your tile, especially for tabletops, something that might get wet or have may stain. You want to use a finisher. On a piece like this, I can if I want to have a little higher gloss on the shine, but it's not necessary. On an extra note, when you're doing your cleanup, you can scrape out any excessive grout and place it into just a small trash bag. But also another easy way is to just allow it to dry, and then once it dries, if by squeezing your plastic container slightly, it will crack, and all of the dried up grout is easy to, at that point, just dump into a trash can. I always rinse all of my products, my float, my knife, my container even. I dump my water outside, and I use the outside water hose to clean everything. Just to be safe, I wouldn't necessarily want any of this inside my sink or home plumbing. I hope this video was helpful. I really hope that if you enjoyed it, that you'll share it with other friends and get busy creating something along the lines of a small fish like we did, or a small frame before you tackle larger pieces like tables. You can see more video under #JBeardArt. I hope this step-by-step grouting video was helpful. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to message me or post them right here on this feed. Have fun creating your very own mosaic.